Good evening. Glad that you are watching your channel of choice on the news tonight. Tonight, BBI hopes rekindled as the appeal case is set to start in late June. A 7-judge bench will hear the matter for 4 consecutive days. Another businessman killed in a drive-by shooting by unknown gunmen in Changamwe. The killing comes a month after another businessman and a relative of the Monday victim was killed in a similar fashion. The national debt set to rise by the end of this month, with the National Treasury pondering a review of the debt ceiling to at least 12 trillion shillings. More cracks among the gamer community as Meru Governor Kiraitu Murungi threatens to rally Mount Kenya East to form a political party for the region ahead of 2022 politics. Chris Onyango is our sign language interpreter. Good evening, I'm Abubakar Abdullahi. Welcome to the broadcast. To our top story tonight, and the rift among the gamer community continues to widen following the contentious coronation of National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi as the spokesman of the Mount Kenya region. And now Meru Governor Kiraitu Murungi says he is ready to form a political party for Mount Kenya East ahead of the 2022 general elections. Margaret Wanjiru reports on the heated quest for President Uhuru Kenyatta's succession.
Meru County Governor Kiraitu Murungi, a staunch supporter of Speaker Justin Muturi's coronation, has expressed his interest in propelling the Meru community and the Mount Kenya East region to State House.
This is what you call experience is the total number of mistakes that one makes in their life. So sasa tutaunda ingine and we'll be together. When that time comes, we are doing our arithmetic to make sure that the Meru plays at the center.
This comes after Mount Kenya East leaders, unsatisfied with the Jubilee Party, tasked him to come up with the new political vehicle.
Murathe, Tuju and the others, we are not going to continue supporting a party which has become a party to champion partisan interests in this region. Yes. Period. Yes. And we are not requesting His Excellency the Governor. We are telling His Excellency the Governor to go ahead and start the process of the registration of another party which will cater for the interests of the East of Mount Kenya region.
A section of Kikuyu elders have, however, organized an event to cleanse Mukure Wanyagathanga Shrine in Murang'a County on Friday following last week's coronation. The elders, with the blessings from Murang'a Governor Mwangi wa Iria, have said they will continue with the cleansing ceremony despite opposition from some of their members.
Whatever happened on 22nd was very unfortunate because it was a sign of commercialization of elderhood, and that has to be condemned in all its in its entirety.
Kwa hivyo mimi nawauliza watu wasikuje kuharibu sherehe kwa kujaza askari. Huko hakuna vita, mahali penye wazee hakuwezi kuwa na vita. Na kama wanataka kukuja, wakuje kama maombi ama wale wa security ya kawaida.
On his part, the Service Party leader Mwangi Kiunjuri said that the divide in Mount Kenya was detrimental to the region.
Yeah, Mount Kenya people are here. You know, the question you have to ask yourself, who is this Mount Kenya? Then when 3 people sit down somewhere and declare themselves Mount Kenya, what about other leaders? Other you try to jump here and there, I'm the kingpin, unaweka kwa magazeti, hapana hakuna. Kingpin will be shown by numbers.
He further suspended plans for his party to merge with Deputy President William Ruto-linked United Democratic Alliance, but said he will continue supporting the Deputy President.
If you are in UDA, you are our brothers and sisters. We are going to respect you. When it comes to forming the next government or agreeing, I have said clearly, next thing is about coalition. It is about respecting each and every party.
With the 2022 elections approaching, many parties have been on the rush to register more party members. Margaret Wanjiru, TV 47.
Elsewhere, the Court of Appeal has faulted President Uhuru Kenyatta's remarks on the ongoing appeal on the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020. The court says none of the involved parties should prosecute the case in the media. And as Grace Josephine now reports, a 7-judge bench of the Court of Appeal is set to hear the appeal between the 29th of this month and the 2nd of next month.
The 7-judge bench that was formed by the President of the Court of Appeal with the blessings of the Chief Justice Martha Koome will hear the appeal in 4 consecutive days. The sessions will run from the 29th of June to July 2nd.
The appeal shall be heard on 29th and 30th of June 2021 and 1st and 2nd of July 2021 by a bench of 7 judges of the court. The hearing shall be in open court at a venue to be arranged in compliance with the COVID-19 protocols.
The respondents in the case have been allowed to file counter-arguments through written submissions in 14 days. Replies will then be served within 3 days. The Court of Appeal, however, allowed the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to continue discharging other functions apart from the referendum process.
The applicant, that is the IEBC, shall continue to discharge its statutory and administrative functions, save for dealing with any of the contentious issues arising in the High Court judgment relating to the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, which was the subject of the High Court judgment.
The court faulted President Uhuru Kenyatta's remarks in his Madaraka Day celebrations directed at the judiciary. President Kenyatta, in his speech Tuesday, said the ruling by the High Court that turned the BBI process unconstitutional negated the people's will.
Let us be balanced in our comments. Let us realize that we have an important judicial process.
The court warned all the parties involved in the case, including President Uhuru Kenyatta, not to prosecute the matter in the media. A 5-judge bench of the High Court declared the BBI process unconstitutional, null and void. Kenyans will have to wait for another 28 days for the hearing of the Building of Bridges Initiative appeals, whose outcome will influence the fate of a possible referendum. Grace Josephine reporting for TV47.
Thank you, Grace Josephine, for that report. Elsewhere, with the 2020-2021 financial year set to draw to a close at the end of June, the country will on Thursday next week know how much the government plans to spend for the upcoming financial year. This, as all signs point to the 2021-2022 financial year budget being the biggest spending package ever for the country at 3.362 trillion shillings. Our reporter David Mudoka looks at the estimates of what is President Uhuru Kenyatta's last full budget.
With the clock ticking to the end of the July 2020 to June 2021 financial year, the government is set to present to the country a 3.362 trillion shilling budget, its biggest spending package ever, on Thursday next week. The budget presentation that comes against the backdrop of a year-old COVID-19 pandemic in the country will be Treasury CS Ukur Yatani's second budget, following his maiden 2.91 trillion shilling budget in June last year. While 2.09 trillion shillings will go to recurrent expenditure, only 624.5 billion shillings will be spent on development expenditure in the budget that has since been submitted to the August House. In the allocation to the 3 arms of government, the executive is set to be the biggest winner, reaping a staggering 1.89 trillion shillings. Parliament will receive 37.8 billion shillings, while the judiciary will get 17.9 billion shillings. County governments are meanwhile expected to share out 370 billion shillings, up from this year's 316.5 billion shillings. Another highlight of the budget will be a new 26.6 billion shilling post-COVID-19 recovery economic stimulus program, while 135.3 billion shillings have been allocated towards the Big Four agenda of transforming housing, universal healthcare, manufacturing and food security. In the budget, only 2.038 trillion shillings will be proceeds of government revenue, including 1.776 trillion shillings in taxes, leaving a budget hole of 952 billion shillings that will have to be plugged from borrowing and new taxes. Despite the huge figures, President Uhuru Kenyatta took to the Madaraka Day celebrations held in Kisumu on Tuesday to defend the government's spending, insisting that his regime holds a better track record compared to all regimes combined since independence. The budget will be Uhuru Kenyatta's last full spending package ahead of his retirement from office in August next year. David Mudhoka, TV47.
And as the country braces itself for the budget reading for the financial year 2021-2022, the talks of raising the debt ceiling from 9 trillion shillings are evident, with lawmakers possibly preparing to amend the public management law to raise the debt cap. However, members of the National Assembly's Budget Committee are of the view that the government should review its borrowing partners and seek for concessional loans which have low rates and longer maturity period compared to commercial loans.
With the budget reading in place next week, the country is grappling with raising the debt ceiling from the current 9 trillion in order to be able to finance 900 billion shillings gap in the budget. The ceiling was last raised from 6 trillion shillings in the year 2019, reflecting growing borrowing due to gapping budget deficits and investments in infrastructure projects like roads.
And by borrowing of above 800 billion, we almost go now beyond the ceiling which was approved by Parliament, a ceiling of 9 trillion. We're almost now eating it. It means very soon, Treasury will be coming back to Parliament to request for either that ceiling to be pushed up to either about 10 or 12, whatever amount they want. But it means now where we are today, the ceiling of 9 trillion might not be good enough to accommodate potential public debt.
We're talking about from about 4-point-something trillion that we had at the exit of Kibaki. So when you look at it, we have grown in length and breadth of the economy. So borrowing shouldn't be very bad. If we hit the ceiling sooner than anticipated, and we hit it for the right reasons, that we have spent that money wisely, then it's fine. But if we borrow and the projects are not completed and the burden is transferred to Kenyans, then we should be worried about it.
Majority of Kenyans unable to fathom where the 3.3 trillion budget would be headed, and still the borrowing appetite raising every day. This year, the country is expected to borrow 880 billion shillings, with this year's budget 1 trillion expected to go to repaying of the country's debt.
To what extent do you borrow? And how do you use the borrowed resources? So where we are as a country, we are now spending more than 1 trillion to service our loans. And what that means is, anytime you are doing a budget, you must set aside 1 trillion to pay your debt. And by doing that, you are then leaving very minimal resources for other activities.
It is that the money that we internally generate is not enough. So inevitably we have to borrow. So borrowing, we will, and we will continue borrowing for a longer period of time. We only need to be careful on, well, first, where do we borrow from? Because if we do commercial lending, those are very expensive loans. Then, we need to borrow from, the Bretton Woods institutions, the bilateral lenders and the multilaterals. Because then, the interest rate is sometimes even up to 0.
However, legislators are of the opinion that the country ought to go for concessional loans, unlike the current commercial loans, which seem to drain the country's coffers. Further, they opine that some of the parastatals should be privatized to curb the public finance pilferage.
The second important point is the government must to some extent introduce austerity measures in terms of our expenditure. We must actually seriously now scrutinize our expenditure wing of our budget, because the more you spend, the more you're required to borrow. So if we're able to manage our expenditure side of the budget, it means you can actually minimize expense. What am I saying? I'm saying it might be important to start looking at our expenditure items and see those ones which you could live with now and those which you could push to the future to manage our debt.
I not see the benefit now, but in the long run, for us to have an airline that serves us as ourselves, because this is when we are able to sell even our country through ourselves. And remember, Kenya is a hub. So we cannot be a hub building the best of airports and we don't have an airline that we have given to the private sector. But many others like ABC maybe needs to be a bit of restructuring. Posta needs to be restructured. And many other defunct ones need to be sold off, and that money is pumped back to the economy to do something that is better.
The National Treasury earlier projected total public debt to hit 7.6 trillion shillings by the end of the current financial year. In June, 6.69 trillion shillings. A year earlier, the figure is expected to show to 8.5 trillion shillings in June 2022 and 9.3 trillion shillings the year that follows. Elizabeth Mutuko, TV47 Nairobi.
Thank you, Elizabeth Mutuku, for that report. You are watching TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. Stay with us. Time for us to take a short break. We'll be back with more after this break.
You see the woman you keep on admiring? They might be going through the same pain that you're going through right now, the same grief that you're going through now, or even the same disease that you are suffering with right now. Why can't I see clearly? But the only difference between you and them is that, yes, they cried, but they managed to learn through the pain and they came out as conquerors.
I stayed for like 2 years without having a job. I cannot even do a simple thing like taking a shower.
So Joy, you can imagine every day you're waking up, going to work, and knowing for sure, you have a dead baby.
Join me each and every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on 19 with Joy Irungu here on TV47.
At Global Precast Panels, we have the best quality, durable, and affordable precast panels to suit all your needs. Manufactured under a controlled environment, we have the best precast concrete panels, precast concrete floor slabs, precast concrete perimeter wall, precast concrete columns and beams. Our panels reduce construction cost by up to 40% with absolutely no plaster required, including added soundproof benefits. Convenient for story buildings, schools, offices, residential houses, hospitals, and warehouses. Take advantage of our free transport. Contact us on 0702 24 7267 or 0796 24 7267. Global Precast Panels Limited, your reliable option for efficient construction.
Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. Thank you for staying with us. Remember, our special coverage tonight is on matters money, the budget of the country, which will be read next week in the National Assembly by Treasury CS Ukuri Atani. Keep sharing with us your thoughts. The number to use is 22047. The hashtag to use is TV47 News. Now, with a week left before the Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukuri Atani reads this year's budget statement on June 10th, 2021, majority of Kenyans will be hoping that the high inflation experienced in the month of April and in the months of April and May 2021 will cool down as the new fiscal year comes into effect. Our reporter Daniel Masija is working on that, and it will be on our way shortly. Remember, Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukuri Atani will be reading the budget statement next week on Thursday, and who best to trust than us in as far as the breakdown of those numbers and how they affect and concern you are concerned. That budget reading exercise will be next week on Thursday. Now, as Daniel Masidza still works on that story, and once Parliament approves the 2021-2022 budget estimates, the price of precious commodities are expected to increase. The National Treasury is planning to spend nearly a quarter of the 3.36 trillion shillings budget with currently facing a 952 billion shillings deficit in accordance with the estimated report.
The tax to GDP ratio has been falling in recent years, meaning Kenya is becoming increasingly reliant on debt. This indicates that Kenyans will have to be at their sixes and sevens when it comes to their pockets if the 2021-2022 budget estimates before Parliament is approved ahead of its reading next week. An ambitious 3.36 trillion shillings is the estimated budget report for the monetary year beginning June 2021, up from 2.79 trillion budget for the year ending June 30th. The government will spend nearly a quarter of the budget in financing its debts, according to the CS of Treasury, Ukur Yatani, with the Kenya Revenue Authority expected to effectuate its 1.56 billion shillings target by the end of June, having surpassed its monthly targets for 5 consecutive months. Yatani is expected to increase taxes for some basic products in the 2021-2022 budget in order to raise more revenue in President Uhuru Kenyatta's final fiscal year in office. 144.6 billion shillings was collected by the taxman in March, surpassing the revenue target by 6 billion shillings. Last month, KRA posted a revenue performance of 176.7 billion shillings against a target of 170.2 billion shillings. During the same period last year, the taxman collected 144.1 billion shillings. In the proposed 3.6 trillion Kenya shillings post-COVID-19 budget, the government is looking at a 952 billion shilling deficit, an amount Treasury says it is planning to secure through a loan. 291.3 billion Kenya shillings through foreign financing and the remaining 661.6 billion shillings through domestic financing. To meet this target, prices of basic goods such as bread is expected to go up, as CS Ukur Yatani asked Parliament to accord Treasury the powers to change the value-added tax VAT without approval from Parliament. In the estimates, the Exchequer has made a submission to amend the excise tax by replacing the excise duty on motorcycles from 11,608.23 Kenya shillings per unit to a flat rate of 15%, a move that will see motorcycles priced above 79,000 Kenya shillings attract more taxes, crippling the boda industry. Treasury also reintroduced betting tax that had been exempted during 2020-2021 financial year. Gamblers will now pay 20% in excise duty on all amounts, whether they win or lose. Mining and health sectors are among the most affected, with Treasury doubling withholding tax on the gross amount of service fee paid by a contractor or a licensee from 5.6% to 10%. The ministry has also dropped medical equipment from the list of products exempted from VAT, a move that may make access to healthcare harder for majority of Kenyans. Mudhoni Maine, TV47.
Let's get back to Daniel Masidza's story, and with a week left before Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani reads this year's budget statement on June 10th, 2021, majority of Kenyans will be hoping that the high inflation experienced in the months of April and May 2021 will cool down as the new fiscal year comes into effect. Daniel Masidza now reports. According to the latest data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, KNBS, the month of May 2021 recorded the highest inflation rate at 5.87% since April 2020. The consumer price index rose by 0.2%. Some of the foods that recorded an increment in prices include onions, sukuma wiki, cabbages and beef.
Before nilikuwa nauza tomatoes 3 for 20 na kulingana na venye hapo ilikuwa cheap, lakini sasa hii kulingana na venye imeenda juu, kwa sasa nauza moja 10 bob. Pia vitunguu zimekuwa ziko na bei sana. Although kwa sasa hizi mvua imepungua kidogo, tena imekuwa afadhali. Nilikuwa nauza 350 ama 350, lakini kwa sasa naweza uza 320 ama 325. Hizi vitu hata kama zinapatikana kwa shida sana, kwa sababu saa nyingine wengine kutravel na kuwa ni shida. So sasa nataka at least watuangalilie ndio tuweze soko yetu ikue poa.
The situation has forced many Kenyans to scale down their budgets in order to meet their daily needs.
Kwa kusema ukweli, kulingana na vile hali ya maisha imepanda. Saa hizi kitambo nilikuwa ninaweza kufanya budgeting ya chakula, tuseme kama wiki 2,000 inatupeleka. Lakini kwa saa hizi it has been very difficult to budget for 2,000. Imekuwa ni ngumu sana kwa sababu unapata hiyo budget ya 2,000, una budget like let's say a day or two. Ukiangalia kwa mfano breakfast, a basic breakfast ya maziwa na mkate, unapata ya kwamba kitambo mkate ilikuwa ni shilingi 50 na saa hizi mkate imepanda ni shilingi 55. Ukiangalia kwa mfano maziwa ilikuwa pia ni shilingi kuanzia shilingi 45 na saa hizi unapata in a range between 50 to 55. So unaona hata basic breakfast huwezi ukabudget na 300 shillings.
On the other hand, various retail shops have also been forced to redesign their business models to cope with the hard economic times.
We have two different things. We have actually proper inflation, that is actually total market, and then we have retail inflation. And the retail inflation is lower than the market inflation. Reason being, the market is way much more competitive. We are doing actually the price lead in the market right now, and ensuring that we keep on protecting the customers and all. So at any one given point, what we actually always do is we make sure we shield our customers from market prices and market price increases, and especially when you just find it's more of what you can actually call ad hoc price increases. So that, and we actually do it in two ways. One, by making sure that within our supply agreements, we actually agree with our suppliers how we are going to do the price changes. And then secondly, of course, is at times we have to shield our customers by somehow taking in those prices and having operating on a lower margin, just to ensure that the business and the customers actually don't just get a shock.
As Kenyans wait for the budget on Thursday next week, the coming days are crucial in determining whether the high inflation experienced since the beginning of the year will cool down anytime soon, to give them some breather amid the COVID-19 pandemic that has exacerbated the dire economic situation of many. Daniel Masiza, TV47.
Thank you, Daniel Masiza, for that report. You are watching the county's television, TV47 News Tonight. Time for us to take another short break. Stay with us.
You see the woman you keep on admiring? They might be going through the same pain that you're going through right now, the same grief that you're going through now, or even the same disease that you are suffering with right now. Why can't I see clearly? But the only difference between you and them is that, yes, they cried, but they managed to learn through the pain, and they came out as conquerors.
I stayed for like 2 years without having a job. I cannot even do a simple thing like taking a shower.
So Joy, you can imagine every day you're waking up, going to work, and knowing for sure you have a dead baby.
Join me each and every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on 19 with Joy Irungu here on TV 47.
At Global Precast Panels, we have the best quality, durable, and affordable precast panels to suit all your needs. Manufactured under a controlled environment, we have the best precast concrete panels, precast concrete floor slabs, precast concrete perimeter wall, precast concrete columns and beams. Our panels reduce construction cost by up to 40% with absolutely no plaster required, including added soundproof benefits. Convenient for story buildings, schools, offices, residential houses, hospitals, and warehouses. Take advantage of our free transport. Contact us on 0702 24 7267 or 0796 24 7267. Global Precast Panels Limited, your reliable option for efficient construction.
These are the sights and sounds of a working nation. There are no shortages to remarkable ideas. What's missing is the will to execute them.
You need to stay relevant. If you don't, you're going to fade off.
Yes, they are a dime in a dozen, but the real meat on these bones comes from trying to realize them.
You just need to perfect anything. If it's drawing, if it's music, pursue it 100% because it's something that is giving back.
Join me, Violet Njoki, as I tell you the stories of these executed ideas, because yours could be next. Mondays, 7:30 p.m.
Hey, now that's hitting the right notes. When life gets boring, we bring out our play. You see, playfulness is in our DNA. It's in the way we move and laugh. It's in the way we walk, the way we rock, and how we just don't stop. You feel me? We add color to everything, to every day and every dish, because the world needs our crazy. We're the different flavors that make life more exciting. We're the ones who add color to every moment. Fanta, color every moment.
Well, the speaker is neither here nor there.
I should have done my outro from here.
Yes, no.
And we're just like that. I look beautiful.
Tune in to Morning Cafe, Mondays to Fridays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. with me, Linda Alela, only on TV 47, the home of Untold Stories.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku. Pata offers zote mahali pamoja ili uongeze zaidi, utume SMS zaidi na ubrowse zaidi.
Wewe usijali. Tuma namba ya kila supplier kwa hiyo soko. Ndio vile nitaongea na kila mmoja wao.
Very good. Piga *444 hash utunukiwe Credo double.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku.
A show with a unique perspective as to the property industry right here in Kenya. Not only showing you the properties available,
but also showing you how you can improve the ambience, look and feel of your living and working spaces.
Yes.
Wow.
This is our office.
This is amazing.
Currently we have a lot of design ideas.
Ranging from your sitting areas, dining areas, as well as your resting and bedroom areas. We have it all right here on this show. Accessories, finishes, as well as the furniture, you can put it in your house to make it unique and incredible.
The Realtor, every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m.
Every plant or animal has a story, and so does every farmer. It could be a day or a year of hard work, heavy rainfall, or a season of... Wait a minute. Hold up. What's happening? Anyway, as we were saying, or a season of drought, bountiful harvest, or growing losses, overwhelmed with a delicate task to feed the nation. This and every Sunday at 7:30 p.m., Kilimo Diaries tells you a farmer's story.
At NCBA, we can tailor-make your SME business solution to suit your business. It's what we have done for over 50,000 businesses so far.
50,000? Mommy, that is 50,000 families with 50,000 meals every day and 50,000 dreams coming to life.
We know that it's not about the business, but about caring for loved ones. Get NCBA SME Banking Solutions. The name is NCBA, and the numbers that matter to you matter to us. NCBA Bank. Go for it.
Candace, what's that?
I brought you a small bonus.
Bonus for what?
You got us 299 family dinners, 64 kisses on the cheek, 12 road trips to see grandma, 42 jokes from daddy, 49 laughs from mommy.
In over 60 years of dealing with numbers, we've learned that the numbers that matter the most to you are the ones that matter the most to us. NCBA Bank. Go for it.
You see the woman you keep on admiring? They might be going through the same pain that you're going through right now, the same grief that you're going through now, or even the same disease that you are suffering with right now.
Why can't I see clearly?
But the only difference between you and them is that, yes, they cried, but they managed to learn through the pain, and they came out as conquerors.
I stayed for like 2 years without having a job. I cannot even do a simple thing like taking a shower.
So Joy, you can imagine every day you're waking up, going to work, and no...
The Home of Untold Stories.
Welcome back. Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has petitioned President Uhuru Kenyatta to revive key stalled projects in Western Kenya in the spirit of the handshake. Oparanya said leaders from the region, led by Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa, had identified development projects in the 5 counties of the region that required either revival or setting up. The projects, he says, have been presented to President Uhuru Kenyatta. The governor says that the residents were in support of the handshake and that they should reap the fruits like their neighbors in Nyanza.
Na mambo ya maendeleo, vile mjuavyo, sisi, mimi aswa na Eugene Wamalwa na magavanasi wote kutoka sehemu za magharibi tumekutana na rais na tukakubaliana tunataka tuwe na project fulani katika mkoa wa Magharibi, lakini kwa sababu ya corona hizo projects zimeanza, lakini kwa sababu ya corona tujakuwa na nafasi ya kusundua hizi projects. Kwanza tumepewa barabara kadhaa, yale barabara ambayo ilikuwa inaendelea lakini ikawa na tashishu ya pesa ikasimama. Hizo barabara sasa zinaanza. Mnaona ile airstrip ya Kakamega, kupitia kwa hiyo mpango sahihi ukarabati ya hiyo airstrip ya Kakamega inaendelea, na pia ile ya Kitale na tulikuwa tupate ile ya Busia, ile ya Busia pia ilikuwa ipate ukarabati wa karibu milioni 50.
To a sad story now, and just a month and a week ago, the family of slain businessman James Mwangi was mourning his brutal murder by unknown gunmen. And now the family has been thrust back to mourning. A member of the late Mwangi's family has been killed in a similar fashion. And as our reporter Mariam Mwacharo reports, the two murders happened at the Changamwe roundabout and no suspect has been arrested.
On the eve of the Madaraka Day celebrations, Changamwe Police Station had to deal with another drive-by shooting in which a businessman was killed by unknown gunmen.
We had a motor vehicle, KAZ 343J, that was being driven by Francis Kinuthia Gige, alias Katoto. He is now deceased. He was the only person in the car, and he died on the spot. Yeah, of course, it's our obligation as police officers to do the necessary so that we arrest and prosecute the criminals.
Needless to say that the shooting and killing of another businessman, James Mwangi, and his fellow partners lays fresh in the minds of Mombasa residents and ever so painfully in the hearts of his family members. This particular incident adds salt to injury. Now, David Gitonga, brother to James Mwangi and nephew to Francis Kinuthia, who was killed after his car was sprayed with bullets on Monday, want the government to intervene and give protection to the family. Gitonga says it is clear there is a deliberate killing spree of his family members.
Ombi langu kwa serikali, tunaomba tuweze kupatiwa protection, manake hii mambo naona wale ambao wana target familia yetu. Manake kwa wakati huu kitu kama kwa muda wa mwezi mmoja tumeweza kupoteza watu wetu wa familia wawili, na marafiki zangu ambao walikuwa na Mwangi pale kwa gari walipotea wawili. Waliweza kupoteza maisha.
Salma Hamed, a representative of human rights organization Haki Africa, laments that insecurity and police killings are now on the rise in Mombasa County. She implored the police to address the matter differently.
Civil society, we are here to help. Haki Africa is here to assist. If there's anything that the security actors feel maybe they need our intervention, we are ready. But no to kill. We should not be killing. When we kill, we are getting so many sympathizers. Instead of eradicating one, we are having 10 sympathizers because of the killing. So killing is never a solution.
As investigations continue, it is the hope of Gitonga's family that the police shall unearth the source of what he termed as senseless killings. It is worth noting that in the murder of James Mwangi and two others a month ago, not a single spent cartridge or bullet was recovered at the scene, in the car, or from the bodies of the victims. The car had been sprayed with over 30 bullets. Mariam Mwacharo, TV47, Mombasa County.
Elsewhere, a tax evasion case against liquor tycoon Humphrey Kariuki failed to kick off yet again at the Milimani High Court after Kariuki's co-accused Peter Njenga told the court that he was unwell. Njenga's application for more time to see a doctor and file a medical report was granted by Chief Magistrate Francis Andai, who went on to adjourn the case until June 14th. However, it is the second time in a span of 2 days that the case has been adjourned after Njenga's lead lawyer, Philip Murgoro, on Tuesday withdrew from the matter, informing the court that his client no longer required his legal services.
Expecting to log on virtually.
As I had said before, you remember. If you feel that you are not comfortable in terms of your health to sit in these proceedings, and remember we might be sitting for quite a while, at least for 2 hours, please indicate to the court immediately. We shall hold the proceedings and give your health the first priority.
Now, a student of Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology in Kakamega County has been found murdered. The third-year education and literature student was raped and later hit by a blunt object on the head, which might have caused her death. Our reporter Petronila Goren with the details.
Wednesday morning, and students of Masinde Muliro University stormed to the streets of Kakamega chanting following the murder of one of their own. According to the students, insecurity cases have risen, leading to several students being mugged in recent days.
I want to appeal to our security officers to do what is necessary to ensure that the lady, at least, haki patikane, because hakuna vile mtu anaweza uawa. We were with the lady yesterday, but I can't even believe. It's just painful.
This is not the first time a comrade is being made at this place called Lurambi, Kefinko, together with Tizo. Just some few days ago last week, there's a boy called Dan. He was attacked and made in Signal. Today, yesterday at night, a student was attacked yesterday also. Makrin. We are seeking justice for Margaret. How can someone be raped in her own house?
In Kefinko area, residents say such cases are not new to them, blaming it on laxity on the part of security officers.
Insecurity imekuwa very high. Ile kitu sisi tunaomba ni kwamba serikali iangalie vile security Kefingo itakuwa, because unaangalia huyu ni mwanafunzi ambaye mzazi anamtegemea kule nyumbani, labda ameuza ng'ombe yake kupeleka mtoto shule, unapata kwamba mtoto ameenda shule lakini arudi nyumbani tena.
This ni security light. Hii kitu ilienda almost 2 years ago. Asifanyi tume launch official report even to the kwa ofisi ya Oparanya. Akatupea mpaka namba, akatuambia in case of anything call us direct on SMS. We as students, we as leaders, tuna SMS, lakini there's nothing has been done.
Residents now want the government to reinforce security in the area. Petronila Goren for TV47.
Let's get to some business news. And the Senate Energy Committee has summoned Petroleum and Mining CS John Munyes on the 14th of June over fuel prices. The committee further stating that failure to appear on the said date will attract a fine.
These sudden increases of fuel seem to be coming on week after week, and the Kenyans are grappling with all the hardship they are going through. And we are concerned as a committee, the Energy Committee of Senate, that we must do all that pertains within our power to ensure that this matter is checked. And it cannot, we cannot leave it to continue unattended. Because I want to tell Kenyans, we share with you the pain you are going through. We are going through hard economic times. And not just because of corona, then somebody else comes and increases fuel prices week after week. It is really paining. And fuel is a very central and important aspect of living. When fuel prices go up, everything goes up.
Elsewhere, Family Bank has today received formal approval from the Capital Markets Authority to raise up to 8 billion shillings in tranches through a multi-currency medium-term note MTN by way of public offer to strengthen its capital base and support lending. Take a look. Elsewhere, Kenya's multi-billion shillings automotive industry is set to benefit from a new distributor in the market. Speaking at the launch of the new BMW Motorrad dealership at One Africa Place building in Westlands, Nairobi, the Managing Director Hussein Ibrahim said that the entry of the company in the market will ensure better service delivery.